Hello, Nomad Sculpt, and let's sculpt a shoe. Okay, this is not a beginner tutorial. You need a practice in Nomad Sculpt, and to start with a shoe, you need a base mesh, like this first one. It's a cylinder and a sphere, or something like this. You can start also with a foot. Okay, and I start with a new scene. And sorry, I don't know each part of the shoe in English. I try my best, but okay. New scene. We don't need the sphere, and I bring in a base mesh of a human body. And we need only, for this example, a foot. I use a cell mask. Symmetry off. We need only one foot, like this. And in the mask settings menu, change the shell thickness and extract the mesh. I hide now the body and bring in the foot. Okay. We need the topology and we need the voxel remesher. And here bring the resolution to a low count and remesh the object. Now it gets a little bit wired. It doesn't matter. You can remesh it multi times. Press remesh, 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 and do it. Yes. Then you get a shape like this, or object like this. And now it's possible to sculpt a little bit on it. You can use different tools. I use here the inflate tool, and here I brush a little bit. Intensity is low, and keep the topology at the beginning very low. Okay, you can use the smooth tool a little bit and smooth the surface. Okay, and now let's bring back the human base mesh, and you see now our shoe is a little bit smaller. We can scale it a little bit like this, and now we can use the move brush and adjust it in every direction a little bit. And I'm not a shoe designer. You can style your shoe like you want. You can make boots or sneakers or like you want. And change your tools. You can smooth again a little bit. And use the move brush. And when you need more topology, you can use the multi-resolution, subdivide it one time, and yes. Switch between smoothing and your tools. Okay, I think this is okay for the moment. And now let's start trimming. In the trim settings, hole filling off and symmetry off, and use the lasso tool. I trim off the sole of the shoe, I think is the word, like this. And now the mesh is open. And the trick is now to hold the mask button and tap on the screen to mask the object. And now in the topology, here in this menu, there's an action close holes. You can play around with the detail slider and press close holes. And now the surface is closed again. And in the mask menu, you can split now the mesh. Press split, and now you have two parts. This becomes the sole of the shoe, and you can go to the solo view and hold the mask button and mask it. And in the mask settings, you can give it a shell thickness, 1.5 for example, and test it. Extract the mesh and see what happens in the complete view. It looks good. Okay. This mesh, I turn on the solo view. This one you can keep, you can hide it, and rename it. Give the things a name. And okay. And you have to plan your shoe a little bit. Now you see you have your parts here, and yeah, let's start with this one. We can use the cell mask. Oh, I use the lasso tool. And invert the mask. Now we can adjust it a little bit, for example in this direction, and you can make it bigger. And yeah, let's play with this. Okay, and clear the mask. And it's also possible to duplicate the objects and test something with it. But I do now a voxel remesh. I tried, and I think it's okay. And it's possible to trim things off from the profile of the shoe. This was not okay. And always remember the close holes option. And yes, this is sculpting. The form of the shoe is now here. Let's trim this one, and hole filling is off. Okay. And when you need for your shoe different parts of the material, I go in the solo view. You can here split now the mesh with the splitting function, hole filling off, and it's possible to split here the mesh like this to get two parts, and plan your shoe. You can now do other splits for different parts. In this view, for example, I go a step back. When you need such a cap, here trim this part off. Then you get the cap of the shoe, and the next step is to trim the whole shape of the shoe. But first duplicate your object. Shoe 1, and hide this one, and this one is the cap. I write it in German. Okay, and this was not a clean cut. I go a few steps back and I check the settings. Front face vertex only, turn it off, it's better. And now use the lasso tool and trim it. Now it should be okay. And this is cap. And this object, yes, it's a clean cut. And duplicate this one, hide this one, and now you can split the object here in this direction. Okay, and this is this part, and this is left, and this is the shoe, the complete shoe. Duplicate this one, and in German it's Zunge, Tongue, I think is the word. And let's do it like this. Okay, and this we don't need, and this is it, yes. And okay, let's see what we have. Yes, this is really a little bit of planning. Let's start with this. You can mask it and give it a shell thickness in the settings of the mask. I think 0.1 is okay, and extract it, and where's some mesh. Here's solo. This is now the cap. And this is the mask. And we can hide it. Yes, I think we can make it a little bit bigger. Where is it? And 0.2 extracted. It's too thin. Better. And okay. And keep the mesh flat as long as possible, I think, because here's you can trim and yes, do everything you want, but when you give the things a shell thickness, it's difficult to adjust the things. Let's start with this part, and I'm hiding the man here, and I think we need a solo view and use a mask. Okay, and trim this part away and clear the mask. And now we need the right thing and activate both meshes and solo. And how does it work to keep the solo and only one mesh is active? Yeah, okay. And trim this away. Yeah, now it works. Okay. Yes. This is okay. And when you want to place applications or logos or something, here you can do it with a mask a part of the shoe, like this. Here's the logo, and in the settings here now, extract this shell and rename it as logo or something else. Let's see how everything looks like. This part we can bring in another position like this. Oops. And let's check everything. This we don't need. This one we can hide, I think. this one we can hide. And yes, it looks good. And the logo, you can use now the multi-resolution, subdivide it a few times to get a high mesh. And we can now use a mask. I bring in an alpha. Yes, I use this, and scaling is okay. I use a flat fall off and the grab dynamic radius without symmetry. And now you can place here your logo and sharpen the mask here a little bit. And you can play around with the border smoothness and split the mesh. The outer mesh we don't need. And look at this. Okay, it's fine. Mask it and give it a shell thickness of, I think, 0.1. Extract it. And I use the round all brush. This is the smooth brush with a grab dynamic radius, and smooth the edges of the thing a little bit, and I give it a color like black. And now I use the decimation. I zoom in a little bit and decimate the mesh. I think it looks clean and very low poly. We got 3000 vertices for this. It's okay. And here's the logo now. This is now the real logo. And this mesh, this is the mask we don't need. And yes. And now it's time to yes, when you're happy with your whole thing. Sorry, I'm searching the parts and to clear the mask. Now I think everything is good. And select now the parts. This is the end. When you are at the end of sculpting, yes, you can here simple merge the objects and adjust your whole thing. Sorry, I check the solo view and rearrange it here like this. And when you simple merge the object now, it's possible to separate it. Yes, this is a logo. Okay, it's no problem. Now when you use the tools like the move brush and connected topology, and here's simple merge. Sorry, I get back and this to keep the mesh simple merged. Symmetry off. Now it's possible to adjust the mesh and the shoe at its the complete mesh. If you need adjustments, but if you color it, it destroys the color. Okay, let's go a few steps back and mask every part. And in the mask settings, now we go in negative, minus 0.2, extracting. Minus 0.1. Okay, sorry. Reduce the border smoothness, and this is sometimes tricky when I forgot it. I think, okay, this border thickness is okay. And the next part, and check. This is a mesh now. Shoe left, I think. And shoe left, solo. This is the right one. And this is the left part. And this one is a mask. We can hide it. And let's mask this one. Extract. And shoe left. Okay. And the last part is this one. We can mask it and extract it. Okay. Here's a small piece. I think we separate it and delete this one. Let's see what happens. And now we can give the things a color. Okay. Turn the wireframe off. And okay. If you want to, yes, I don't know the the word for it. You can here make this, and now it's possible to use the snap function. Bring it here. And okay, and I do it, I turn on the wireframe and adjust the division. I do it, yes, 4 is okay. And now make it real thin. And you can now, when you validate this object, you can now, with the transform and the move and the clone function, you can place here a few objects like this. And yes, it's not, this was not a nice example. I go back. I think this is a little bit better, but not perfect. Like this. Okay, let's validate this object, and with the transform tool and the clone function, you can place here the objects like this and make it flat. And in the topology, you can select the tubes and voxel merge it. Test it. We need more resolution. Yes, now you get a stripe, I say. So you can do the this parts of the shoe. Because the tube is, yes, it doesn't work in every direction to make it as flat as this. Okay, I think this is a nice end for the video. Okay, have fun with sculpting. Ciao.